I think that tells us everything we need to know about the grip. Sketchy. Welcome back folks, I'm Lloyd Purvis and this is Run4Adventure, and welcome back to another first impressions first run video at the channel. Our previous first impressions video that featured Innovate's new trail running shoe, the Trailfly Ultra G 300 Max, seemed pretty popular with you guys at home, so we are bringing you another one today. In today's video we are going to be checking out and taking our first looks and giving you our first impressions on Nike's new trail running shoe, the Terra Kiger 7. So the Terra Kiger is Nike's sort of lighter, more responsive trail running shoe within their trail range. So I've got to be honest, I was pretty surprised when I sat it down on the scales in an immense UK 9.5. It still weighs in at 328 grams. I thought it might be a bit lighter than that. It retails in the UK for £124.99 and it runs off a 4mm offset. This is going to be my first experience of a Nike Terra Kiger trail running shoe, so I'm really looking forward to getting out there on the trails in this shoe, and I'm hoping that this is going to be the Nike trail shoe that's going to handle those wet, muddy British conditions a bit better. If I'm honest, in the past, Nike trail running shoes that we've tested and reviewed at the channel have always been a bit lacking when it comes to stability in rocky technical areas, and always lacking with a bit of grip and traction in wet conditions. So let's hope that this new multi-directional lug pattern that Nike have put on the outsole of the Terra Kiger 7 performs a bit better. It's been designed to offer a bit more traction on ascents and descents, but let's hope it just gives us a much better overall level of grip in those tricky trail conditions. The shoe still runs off a full React midsole, and I'm a massive fan of that React foam cushioning in a running shoe. I'm still not convinced that it works in a trail running shoe, especially when it comes to underfoot stability. And the biggest change probably with the new Terra Kiger is that the air zoom unit has been moved from the heel of the shoe into the forefoot. To be honest, I find it quite weird that it was ever put in the heel in the first place. Surely this zoom air unit is all about propulsion, so why you'd ever want it in the heel, I'll never know, but at least it's in the right place now. The upper is constructed using this very lightweight, breathable mesh for enhanced feel and ventilation. The tongue in the shoe is gusseted and it's quite thin in design, but Nike have worked in this extra padding down the center of that tongue just to give you a bit more comfort across the top of your foot. This upper also has Nike's dynamic fit system within it, so that's designed to hug and support the foot so you feel very stable within the shoe while running on technical trails. That ankle collar in design very similar to the tongue, is quite thin, but Nike have added in these sort of zonal padding around that heel and ankle collar, again for a bit of increased comfort but also enhanced lockdown. Rounding off that upper, we've got this nice blue rubber overlay around that toe box, just for a bit of extra durability at the flex points. It's quite soft in construction, so it's not really going to give you any more protection while out on the trails. And then on the back end of the shoe, you've got this handy heel loop just to help you get in and out of the shoe. Also, Nike have worked a rock plate into the heel of that midsole of this trail running shoe, which to me is a pretty weird place to put a rock plate in a trail running shoe. I actually think what's happened is we've kind of got a role reversal here. We've switched things around. So in the previous version, we had the rock plate under the forefoot and we had the air zoom unit in the heel. So in the new version, they've switched it. I'm not sure whether you can have the air zoom unit and a rock plate, so maybe that's why they've put it in the heel of the shoe. I don't think I've ever run a trail shoe with a rock plate in the heel, but we'll give it a go. But that is a bit of information about the new Terra Kiger from Nike. But this is a first impressions and first run video, so we definitely need to do some running in this video. We're heading to a new location, a location where I do a lot of my training, but it's never featured on the channel before. So I think the best thing we can do is jump in the adventure bus and let's go and hit some trails in the new Terra Kiger 7. So we've come up to Tahiti Woods today. It's a very short drive to get here, so another great training ground, very close to home for me, but very different to the coast path where I spend a lot of my time running. It only looks like a very small wooded area, but there's actually about 8 to 9 miles of trails here with some real varied underfoot conditions. So I thought this would be the perfect testing ground to bring the Terra Kigers for their first run, especially when, like I said back at the flat, I've always been a bit disappointed with the level of stability and the level of traction I've got from their trail running shoes. So here we've got a nice sheltered wooded area, so we're going to definitely have some wet areas, some muddy areas. We got lots of tree roots and wet tree roots to deal with. We've got rocks and we've got hard standing, so there really is a bit of everything in the woods. So it's going to be a proper test out for this trail shoe. Obviously, coming back from an ankle sprain, I'm going to take it easy. The last thing I want is to go over on my ankle, sprain my ankle again while testing out these shoes on their first run. So I think the best thing we can do is get the Terra Kigers on our feet and let's hit the trails. So it is great to be back in the woods, and it's been a long time since I've been here with the pandemic, but it looks like they've done a fair bit of work here. There's lots of new signage, so a lot harder to get lost. You really can get lost in here quite easy, but also they've laid a bit of hard standing, so we've got more of a tarmac path. Not around the whole woods, which is good. There's still lots of technical trails to run, but again, it makes it a bit more accessible for people. And in the background here, you've got a wicked little cafe here as well. So obviously not open at the moment with lockdown, the pandemic and everything else, but once it is back open, you can come down here, get a great training run on varied trails. You've got a lovely little duck pond as well. Bring the kids, feed the ducks, squirrels, lots of wildlife. And then afterwards, you can get a great coffee and a nice bit of cake. So we are about a mile into our run so far, and the shoe is feeling really good straight out of the box. Very comfortable underfoot, very comfortable in that upper, nice and soft around that heel collar. I feel really locked into that heel collar as well, dialed into that midfoot as well, no lateral slippage at all. And where they've added that little bit of extra padding across the tongue, feels very comfortable on top of the foot. Big fan of the React midsole in a Nike shoe, feeling very comfortable underfoot as always, running really well. You can really notice that air zoom unit in the forefoot. It gives you a nice bit of pop when you're toeing off. But I've only run the shoe on hard standing so far, so nothing technical. So I think we need to delve a bit deeper into the woods, go exploring and find some more technical, wetter, muddier, rootier trails. And it's looking good on the mud front. We've got lots of puddles still, lots of mud to run on. So we can really test the grip out on this Terra Kiger 7. So let's delve a bit deeper into the woods and let's find some technical trails. I really had forgotten how amazing it is to come into the woods and run. I love the woods. There's something very magical about running in the woods, especially when you've got these amazing blue skies overhead. And we have definitely found some mud. We got some real boggy sections in here still. So we are definitely giving the grip of this shoe a good testing, and the jury is out at the moment, but we'll do some more miles, we'll hit some more mud, hit some more tree roots, but it is stunning in here, man. If you're ever in Cornwall and you get a chance to come down to Tahiti Woods, definitely take that opportunity up. It is a beautiful and magical place to run. Oh my God, the hazards of shooting with 2 GoPros. I only ran off and left my other GoPro stuck in a tree. I got a mile away, I've just had to bomb it back, and thank God it is still there. Right, 2 cameras, Lloyd, don't leave it lying around. Right, let's get back running. So we're a good 3 miles into the run, and we've run on a big mix of different terrains as well. So thought I'd give you a quick update on how the shoe is performing. We'll start with the good stuff first. So the upper is extremely comfortable straight out the box. Feels lovely around the foot, really soft internally in that upper. I would say width in the toe box is average. I'd say it's still got pretty good room allowing my foot to splay. I feel really locked into that midfoot with that gusseted tongue, and the tongue is extremely comfortable. And breathability, you know, that upper, that lightweight engineered breathable mesh upper working really well. It's quite warm out here today, so it's getting airflow through it, keeping my feet nice and cool. But there is a few negatives. First thing, grip. So seems to be a bit of a trait with Nike trail shoes. Not great levels of traction when it comes to the wet, boggy, muddy bits. In fact, that new multi-directional lug pattern seems to really hold on to mud, and I've had to clear that lug pattern a few times where it's been bunged up and full of sticky mud. So not great when it comes down to grip in wet, muddy conditions. And again, stability. You know, this React cushioning feels great on the hard stuff, great on the flat stuff, great on the tarmac I ran early on this run. But when you get to rocky or tree rooty sections, that midsole feels a bit unstable underfoot. You don't feel connected and dialed into the trails. Obviously, it's still early days. We've only done 3 miles in the shoe, so we'll have a much better understanding at the end of this run, or, you know, in 30, 40 miles time, of the level of traction and grip of this shoe. But first impressions, not great when it comes to grip, but it is extremely comfortable. And again, that React cushioning works really well on the firmer, drier trails that I've run on. And the grip's really good on the dry trails as well. Just struggling a bit in those wet conditions. But we've got some really technical trails coming up in a second. You've got this nice long rooted muddy wet ridge to run, so we're going to head for that ridge and we're going to really test the grip out on this Terra Kiger 7. So this is where the ridge starts, just up here, so fingers crossed, wish me luck. Okay, it's not as challenging along here as I thought. It's a lot drier than I thought. Normally it really sits wet up here. There's still a little bit of mud and lots of tree roots. And if you turn this way, you got this long bank running down to the path. So there's quite a steep camber as well, but pretty good so far. The shoe's doing all right. So that is the ridge done. I hope the camera did it justice. It's really deceptive. It's almost a mile long of ridge running, super technical. And then you got this real steep technical descent just to finish it off. So going steady. But we come up here in the depths of winter when it's wet, sticky, muddy, head torches on, and we've run that awesome technical ridge in a group. Super challenging, great training, really got to be focused, got to move your feet quickly. So I love doing that in the winter, but almost as much fun in the summer with a nice blue sky overhead. But that's the ridge done. While I'm out on today's run, I thought I'd test a few other items out as well. We got stuff stacking up at Run4Adventure HQ, so I've got to test as many items as I possibly can when I go out running. We've been sent a load of kit from friends of the channel and one of my apparel favourites, Say Sky. Today I'm running in their new running gilet. They've introduced a running gilet back into their apparel range, which is a great thing. You know how much I love a gilet. Typical Say Sky really. It looks super cool, super functional, fabric's great, fits so well, lovely to run in. But we've also got some nutrition to test. So I bought a couple of Morton gels with me today to take on the run to see how they digest, to see how they taste, to see how much energy they give me on the run. It's a brand I'm obviously fully aware of. I know they're behind some of the best runners in the world, Eliud Kipchoge and Kilian Jornet, so they must be doing something right, and I've heard great things about the product. If you've used it before, guys, get in the comments. I'd love to hear your comments on this brand, on this nutrition. How does it work for you? Do you think it's worth the price point? I've used it on one run before, and I really felt like it was giving me a load of energy. So get in the comments and let us know. We are getting this run done, a few more miles, and we'll be back at the van and we'll give you an update. How beautiful was that section back there? That's the oak wood section of the woods. They've definitely been doing some work in here. That bridge had been down for some time and they've built a brand new bridge. Awesome little section of the woods through there. Love running that bit. Wait a minute, Sam, wait a minute, Sam. Look at.
Let me get the snot away. There we go.
Nice hat, innit, eh?
Cheers,
Good to bump into you, Sam. Take care, mate. Have a good run. I'd forgotten all about that sodding big hill on the way back to the van. We're nearly there though. So we made it back in one piece, a really successful run, just shy of 10k in the woods, and I think we ran over every single possible type of terrain known to man. So Tahiti Woods is a great testing ground for shoes, and we'll definitely be coming back here in the future, especially for first impressions and first run videos. So how did the Terra Kigers do out on the trails? Well, first up, that React midsole, like all the Nike trail shoes with that React midsole, it ran really well, especially on the hard standing, on the tarmac, on the harder, more compact trails. Super comfortable underfoot. Feels like a road shoe underfoot with that React midsole. I think having that air zoom unit in the forefoot, it did give you a little bit of spring off on toe off. I don't know what the pressure is in that air zoom unit, but it didn't seem as bouncy as in, say, the Nike Pegasus 37, their road shoe. Not quite as bouncy as that, but still felt good underfoot. As far as the upper goes, the upper is very, very comfortable indeed, straight out of the box. No issues with the upper. Very similar in feel to, say, the Nike Pegasus Trail 2 that I reviewed last year. Very comfortable upper to be in. Tongue felt comfortable with that extra padding. Heel collar, really comfortable, really dialed into the shoe as well. I could see myself spending a lot of time in this upper and having no issues whatsoever. No hot spots, no rubbing. Upper, super comfy. So there's definitely been a lot of positives in the first run in the Terra Kiger, but unfortunately, I'm unhappy to say it is same old when it comes to the level of traction and the stability in this shoe. In the muddy areas that I ran it in, this outsole really struggled to get traction, and you can see even now that the back end of that outsole on the heel is stuck full of mud. The outsole didn't seem to clear the mud very quickly, and it really did start to bung up, and then you lost all form of traction. And also there was a few stability issues with the midsole itself. It actually felt, especially when I was running on rocky or rooted areas, like the midsole sort of had lateral rotation in it, so very hard to maintain a stable footing on uneven ground. Again, I don't know whether it was just me because of the ankle issues I've been having that I'm oversensitive, but in my rehab I've been spending a lot of time running in Scott's Supertrack RC2, and I felt super dialed in, really connected to the trails underfoot, which I've loved, having that ankle sprain and recovering from that ankle sprain. I really didn't feel as confident in the Nike Terra Kiger, and I really did struggle to maintain stability in rocky and tree rooted areas. We'll obviously get more miles in this shoe, say another 30 or 40 before we bring you our full in-depth review, and then we'll really know how this shoe performs when it comes to stability and traction. I was really hoping, I had my fingers crossed, that this was going to be the shoe to prove me wrong when it came to Nike trail shoes, but I'm not fully convinced it is. Again, I might be being a bit harsh on it because it was the initial run in the shoe and we've only put 6 miles into it, and I would say it has performed a little bit better than, say, the Wild Horse 6 or the Pegasus Trail 2 when it came to sort of connection, grip, stability. It did run a bit better than them two shoes. So that is it for our first impressions, first run video on the Terra Kiger. Really hope you enjoyed it, guys. Really hope you found it helpful. Like I said, we will be doing our full in-depth review on the shoe very soon. Also, hope you enjoyed the sights of Tahiti Woods. Such a wicked place to run, but gonna jump in the van, head home, get some lunch, have a coffee. Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciated. We will see you on the channel very soon. But as always, stay safe and keep on running.